Hi everyone. Now that it's the end of the semester and we're getting information on what are we taking away from this class, I thought I would revisit this chart that I gave you back in the first topic of this course. And I put a link to Prezi. I also had a screenshot of this, and maybe it didn't make a lot of sense then, but I think you're going to be surprised how much you understand this chart now. So we start out here at the top, and we look at ethical theories so we can compare them. Are ethical rules we live by absolute? Are they without exception? And so if we were to say yes to that, that takes us to absolutism, which we covered in chapter 5. And it also takes us to divine command. And down here with Kant's categorical imperative, that also Kant tries to be consistent and aim toward absolutism. If we were to say no to this question, that brings us over here to relativism. One of the things I like about this textbook and what the authors do is they have this category of near absolute, because we don't want chaos in society. We want to count on that things are mostly correct, most of the time. And so the concept of near absolute is something is wrong unless you have a really, really good reason beyond just that you don't feel like following something. You have a legitimate, rational reason from a cognitive place, not just emotion. So we end up with near absolute. So then we look at the consequences of an action considered in determining right and wrong. And this really separates our different philosophers who have brought us these moral theories. So if we were to say yes, we should consider the consequences. That brings us over to consequentialism. And so underneath that, we have egoism and care ethics and utilitarianism. And one of the things I did with this chart was notice that these are on the relativism side. And so, for example, egoism, something is right if it's good for me, but it's not good for you. Like, I can do it, so I can cut in line, or I can take a discount I'm not entitled to, but I don't think you should. So that's not consistent. And so we make exceptions. So we're going to put that over closer to the relativism side. Same thing for care ethics, but instead of doing and acting out of our own personal need, we're looking out for the needs of those around us. And then utilitarianism, we're looking at the needs of everyone, but looking at the needs of everyone that can change. What's good for everyone today may not be what's good for everybody last year. And never have I ever felt like, wow, what a difference a year makes, because things that were fine last year are not fine this year with all of the things in our society that are going on. Okay, so then if we were to say no to this question, that we don't consider the consequences, because our job is to follow correct moral rules. And I know I asked this question a few times in the course of non-consequentialism, because it sounds like, and sometimes students say, well, they don't care about the consequences. Well, they do care. It's just that they don't make moral decisions based on the consequences, because they just have to follow the right rule. And, when we go back to Judy, if she says no to shooting the people in the villages, it's because she's following that rule that killing is wrong, and she'll feel bad if more people are, lose their life, but she herself just can't violate that rule. So it's not that they don't care. So underneath that, we have intuitionism, which, by the way, I think we live by a lot of the time, because it's how we feel. We're really tuned into our gut feelings. There's some cognition with that too, but it's kind of that automatic pilot. And then I already mentioned Kant's categorical imperative. It's about using reason to discover the correct moral rules and then following them. And then over here with Ross and his duties, we need to follow those duties, but which ones should take precedent, or if there's two that are in conflict, which one do we follow? Well, in this case, I guess I'll put it this way: the tiebreaker, telling the truth but also saving someone, and avoid, having them avoid harm. Those are duties that are in conflict. So which one takes precedent? Well, we would get to use the consequences of that decision in order to decide which one we should follow first, which duty. And then we're going to come back here to the middle and virtue ethics, which is a favorite of a lot of people. And these are not rules per se, but they are character development. And so I hope you enjoyed this chart. I hope it's more meaningful to you now than it was at the beginning. I hope it's a good, at least overall structure to begin the course, but now you know what these terms are, so I will challenge you to use these terms in conversation with people. And I also will challenge you that I bet that you can't watch many TV shows or watch many movies without identifying egoism or utilitarianism or virtue or some of the others. And so now you're doomed to a life of seeing ethical theories everywhere you go. So I hope you enjoyed the semester, and I wish you all the best in the future.